If you have a baseline on the correct way to do it, and when I say correct, there are so many different correct ways to do it, but again, there could be 10 different ways to do one thing. But if you know those, right, and you have a team of people that you can bounce those ideas off of, it is absolutely crucial. All right, hey everybody, Zach Ullman. Hope you're having a beautiful day. Today I have a very interesting concept, not really concept, but topic to talk about, and it's money lending and all the scammers out there that are trying to get you to sign up for their program, pay you upfront fees, and that whole world of it. So if you're new to this and you're looking for money to invest in real estate, watch this, because I'm going to show you the correct way to do it, and then I'm going to actually show you an email from somebody, an actual, and I say quote unquote money lender, that was trying to lend money to one of our team members, and I said, whoa, this is a scam. So I'm going to take you through that email. So keep listening and let's go. So first off, in order to understand this world, you need to understand the correct way to do it. And when I say the correct way, I want to be very conscious that there's many different ways to raise capital, but here's the biggest thing you need to understand when you're raising money from a hard money lender. So that's the focus of conversation that we're going to keep on today, because there's seller financing, there's creative acquisition, there's private money, there's all of that. But these individuals that are going to be reaching out to you, and that you may be reaching out to, that are in the hard money world, that's probably the market they're going to try to corner. So that's the market I want to keep on topic for this conversation. Now, in order to understand the wrong way to do it, we need to first understand the right way to do it, and then we're going to jump into this email where somebody actually sent one of our team members this. Okay, so in order to get money from a hard money lender, there are so many different hard money lenders out there. They're all across the United States, and they all have their own underwriting process. Underwriting is essentially the way that they analyze a deal to determine if they're going to lend on it, right? And what qualifications you need, how much money you need, what your credit score, what credit score you need, if any credit score at all. So that's sort of the world of it. Now, there are money lenders out there that I've seen that will lend 90% of purchase and 100% of rehab, all the way down to as little as 60% of purchase. Now, the higher we get in the purchase and rehab number, and what I mean by that is the more money they lend on the deal, typically the more stringent the underwriting process is. And what I mean by that is it's going to be a whole lot easier to get 60% of a deal than it is to get 90% of purchase and 100% of rehab, just because the nature of the risk, right? It's a heck of a lot less riskier to lend 60% of a deal than it is 90% and 100% of rehab. Okay, so first understand that concept, and then when you see this email, it'll really make sense. So the people that typically lend, hard money lenders, they're lending on the deal, meaning they want to know what the ARV is, they want to know what repairs are, they want to know typically your experience inside of that. Now, experience may or may not have a whole lot to do with it, depending on the money lender. Typically where they embed that is the rate. The more deals you have, the more experience you have, the lower the rate, maybe the lower the points. Now, as we move up this echelon towards the 90, 100% of rehab, they're typically on that end of the spectrum, they're going to require credit, right? Personal credit. They're going to look at your credit. They may even look at your finances. I've seen money lenders out there that will lend on that end of the spectrum, 90 to 100, and they're looking for your personal credit score, and they're looking for your personal finances. And it's typically a little bit harder to get underwritten. Now, with that being said, I do have companies out there we work with that it's hard to get underwritten, and once you do it the first time, it's a breeze, because what they'll do is they'll give you a credit line. So they say, hey, we're going to do all this hard work, all this diligence up front, and then if you If you pass, we'll give you a credit line, and then every deal after that is going to be simple, right? It's just submit it. We've already done all the hard, the heavy lifting per se inside of qualifying you. So there's so many different ways to do that again. But typically, hard money lenders, they're lending on the deal, and they typically don't care about your credit, typically don't care about your personal finances, and they want you to have skin in the game, okay? So that's absolutely crucial to understand. So we're gonna jump over actually into this. Before we do that, I also have something to say. Money lenders, I've yet to meet one hard money lender that doesn't go through title, and this is absolutely crucial. That doesn't go through title. So just to refresh you, the typical process of a deal is you go find the deal, right? You raise the let me rephrase that. You get it under contract, right? You open escrow at a title company. Now, I have done deals outside of title. I don't recommend it unless you really know what you're doing. So for the sake of this conversation, we're going to say we're going through title. And so you open up the title, and then they make sure that they go through this process. They clear title. They're making sure that they have a marketable title, meaning all the liens, all the judgments, all of those type of things are clear or clean, whatever they have to do to get that. Maybe they have to pay off water bills. Maybe there's some judgments, whatever it is. That's what they're working on, okay? And then the money lender will come and say, okay, hey, we'll go through title. I'm going to wire my money to title, okay? And if you're working in a state with an attorney, similar concept, okay? I'm going to wire my money to a third party. Let's put it that way. And then what happens is, the third party title company, they do all the paperwork. They disperse the funds only and after everything has been done correctly. All the title has been cleared, the paperwork has been signed, and then what they'll do is they'll distribute funds and give ownership to the buyer. That is the typical route. So I'm going to hop over, and we're going to go over what this email shows us, okay? All right, so let's start at the top. This is the email that was sent from the supposed hard money lender to one of our team members. And then our team member asks us, hey, is this real? Is this legit? This seems really great. And so let's just start at the top. It starts with qualifications. What they're requiring is a driver's license front to back, a recent utility bill, and a property agreement if applicable, okay? And then they have their 5-step process. Get pre-qualified by requesting our specific terms on your property and project. Once you get pre-qualified, you can go through the application process. When submitting your application, make sure that you have all the required documents. After you submit your application, we perform a compliance call to verify your identity and the information on your forms. Approvals are typically obtained within 48 hours before paying the fee involved, which is the loan processing fee. Right there. All right. So as soon as you hear that upfront fees, your bells and whistles should be going off. Never ever pay upfront fees for money. Okay. Now there is an exception. There's some credit card companies out there or funding companies out there where they'll actually go, and what they do is they get you credit cards, but still they don't even send you an invoice until they've actually acquired those credit cards. So a great rule of thumb is if somebody is charging upfront fees for money, don't do it, all right? Because what they're typically going to do is they're going to take your money and you'll never hear from them again, okay? So let's continue with the 5-step process. You will get direct deposit funding within 2 days after approval, signing of the loan contract agreement, and payment of your loan charges. Typically, all process takes 2 to 4 business days from the start to finish. So if you listen and you understood the typical process of a deal, right, where you actually have to go through title, that number 5, step 5 in this process should be raising alarm, because it's going to say you will get direct deposit funding within 2 days. That is not the way typically it's done, unless it's private money, and that's a whole different conversation. I've yet to see a hard money lender that will wire funds directly into your account. They all go through title so that they can lien the property. And that's very important for you to understand. So whenever when hard money lenders lend, they do with either a deed of trust or a mortgage with a promissory note. If there's no asset to collateralize, they're not going to lend money. Okay, so what this statement says is, hey, we'll direct deposit these funds into your bank account with no collateral. Not going to happen. That's like an unsecured loan. Okay, so that should be sending your bells and whistles off as well, because what typically happens is they'll send the money to escrow. There'll be a deed of trust or a mortgage which collateralizes that money with a piece of property. They're not doing it this way. They'll say, hey, we're just sending it to your bank account. Okay, doesn't happen that way. All right, so let's get into the loan terms and conditions. They say this is to inform you that you have been qualified in getting a loan from me, right? You will have to agree with the terms below. Loan size, $50,000 to $50 million. Okay, that's not absurd. Interest rate, 4% fixed. That is absurd. If you're listening to this, it is July 11th, 2021, and there's no way that you're going to get that type of rate on a commercial / investment property from what we call hard money lender, right? That's more consumer-based type interest rates, and so that is another piece of this conversation that should be alarming. 4% fixed, and then if you're listening to this, you may not be able to see what I'm saying, but some of the terminology that they're using is a little off. Okay, so lending programs, all types of loans, prepayment, no prepayment penalty. That's typically not the case, because if they're lending money, they want this money to be out long enough for them to make money. Number 5, no credit check, asset-based lending. That is on a 4% interest rate, right? No credit check. Again, bells and whistles should be going off right here. Closing in 3 to 5 days. So that is not absurd, right? There are people out there that can do that. We have people that can actually close in a day. We have hard money lenders. Collateral. All commercial real estate property types, including specialty uses and land. Again, the terminology is a little bit off there. Nothing that really, catches my attention. Repayment type, fixed and balloon installment available to choose by the borrower. Now, again, not absurd, nothing to throw any alarms yet. Term, so number 9, term. Short and long-term program tailored to fit different loan scenarios. 6 months to 30 years with 3-month grace period before making first repayment of the loan. That is the part that caught me on that was 3-month grace period before making first repayment of the loan. I've had loans where they take the first payment out at escrow, right? Not let alone give you a 3-month grace period. So that sort of raised the alarm there. Recourse is do they go back to you personally? So they say they have recourse and non-recourse loans are available. Loan to value, loan to cost. Up to 100% of stabilized value is available. Again, bells and whistles. 100% at 4%, no credit check. That is not in alignment with the way money is lent out there in the world. And finally, this is the one that should just seal the deal. Number 12, borrower R2. Again, the phrase there, borrow R2. That the way that's not correct in the way they're saying it. So a lot of the sentence structure, the English structure, it isn't grammatically correct. So I'm reading it the way it is. Borrower R2 provide processing fee of the loan amount upfront after pre-qualification prior to approval, which is to be refunded at the closing of the loan. So essentially what they're saying is, hey, give us your processing fee. We're going to pre-qualify you, and if you pre-qualify, we'll give it back to you at the closing of the loan. They want money up front, right? Do not give lenders money up front. They get paid when they lend money. They don't get paid for doing applications. Okay, and that is the sentence that just destroys any of this from being an actual valid loan. So I hope that gives just some insight of what you should be looking for when you're going out there for money. Now, here's the thing, gang, is I could tell you this over and over and over again. What many of us will do, and trust me, I've been there, is they'll say they'll want it to be true. You will want it to be true, and you'll go through this process. And I've heard of people losing $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 going through similar scams like this. And guess what? It happens every day. And the reason these individuals keep doing it is because it works. People don't know what they don't know. And that's why I wanted to create this training, is because when you're borrowing money, when you're doing real estate at the investment level, right? There are so many people out there that are going to be trying taking advantage of you, from contractors, from money lenders, from this whole world of it. Okay, now the goal is to understand the rules, understand what's possible, understand the correct way to do it. Because if you have a baseline on the correct way to do it, and when I say correct, there's so many different correct ways to do it. But again, there could be 10 different ways to do one thing. But if you know those, right, and you have a team of people that you can bounce those ideas off of, it is absolutely crucial. And I just want to share some of the other scams that people are doing out there in the world right now. Wire fraud is a big one. What they'll do is they will intercept your emails between title company and you. And then what they'll do is they'll put their own emails in there, and then they put their own wiring and routing numbers. I talked to an attorney out of Chicago. Somebody sent $300,000 to a scammer because one of the scammers got in between the title company and the seller and intercepted the emails, blasted on an email and said, "Hey, new wiring instructions, send the money here." Okay, it's happened to me before. Thank God I called. So the lesson around this is if you're wiring money to a title company, to anybody, call that person on the phone and verify the routing number, the bank account number, and all of the rest of the details. Because it's so easy for these individuals to insert their own details in there and then have you send your money to them. Okay, and what'll happen is you can't get it back. Right? Because it's some bank account, maybe offshore, and you're not going to get it back. That individual lost $300,000 because he didn't follow the simple process of calling the title company to verify the routing and bank account number. Another way people scam individuals are doing deals outside of title. Never do a deal outside of title unless you're absolutely sure what you're doing. As a new individual, there's a lot of people out there that will prey upon you, right? They'll prey upon your lack of education. And guess what? I see it every day. People lend money all the time with no deed of trust, with no collateral. They just have the promissory note. Right? That's another big one. Okay. So always use title. And if you're going through title, they're gonna have the process that they go through in order to make sure that the deal is legit, in order to make sure that the money is correct, in order to make sure all of that is correct. Now, if you're brand new to this, get an attorney, get a professional, have somebody help you, because again, I've seen title companies make mistakes. I've seen mistakes everywhere because there's so many nuances inside of this that there's a lot going on, specifically around the advanced creative acquisition, the complex title issues, and complex the complexity of the stuff that we love to do, because everyone else loves to run away from it because they don't understand it. So we go in there and we get our hands in the our feet in the trenches, and we're clearing some of this title stuff away. We're dealing with advanced liens, we're dealing with advanced strategies, and you really got to know what you're doing. So we have multiple eyes on our work. Okay, so be careful out there to not get scammed by anyone. So to wrap this up, a couple quick rules of thumb. Always use a title company. Always use a title company. always use a title company or an attorney, right? In some states, they use attorneys as well. Okay. Whenever you're lending money, always collateralize it with a deed of trust or a mortgage. Always. And you make sure that the deed of trust is recorded. Whenever you're sending money, always call the person you're sending it to and make sure it's them and verify the routing and bank instructions. And, I'll make another video because there's a lot more things that people can do out there, but those are the top ones that we see on a regular basis. So stay safe, stay smart, get educated, hang around the right crew, and none of this should be an issue. And if you have any questions whatsoever, reach out to me on our Facebook group. We have trainings every Tuesday, every Saturday. If you're in our advanced masterminds, we have training 6 days a week, over 18 support meetings a week, not a month, not a year, 18 support meetings a week that you can hop on and ask any questions you want. We have people that have been doing this for 35 plus years that have done 1,000 deals a year, all the way down to people that have never invested in real estate and everyone in between. We have people doing almost every type of real estate investing you can think of. And the idea is we can do more together. So if you have any questions, you want some support, you want to learn more about what we're doing, reach out to us. Facebook, Instagram, our website, valleyinvestmentclub.com. And let's get your questions answered and let's get you moving to your goals, right? Because that's what we're here for. Have a beautiful day, everybody. Bye-bye.